RC channel here on YouTube. I didn't film that takeoff. I remembered that the camera was off shortly after taking off from the field, so I figured I'd just do the reverse for the intro. I'm going to try to make this one a little bit more flowy for narration. I'm not the best talker, and I know it, so I've tried to gather my thoughts before I overlay the audio into this video here. It is a bit of a long video, so bear with me, or feel free to turn it off if it gets a little too boring. At the very end, I do have a little bit of a quick descent and almost fell on my butt, so worth watching there at the end, or at least skipping up to the end and checking that out. So a little bit about me. I'm a longtime aviation enthusiast. I've always loved flight sims. I've had them since the early 90s. I've always had a flight sim, and currently using Prepared 3D, if anybody is familiar with that. It's my favorite one. I've got quite a nice setup with a mock cockpit deal and some things like that. Not like an enclosed one, mind you, just yoke and all the controls and pedals and stuff on a curved widescreen, and a headset that does head tracking and things like that. But anyway, I'm also a private pilot as well. More recently, I've been a private pilot about a year, and I started a long time ago and then broke off several times before I got to finish my license, and then finally found the chance to finish it up. So I've been flying a lot of Cessnas. You'll see a video or two about that on the channel if you search around in some of the videos. And I'm right next to the Mississippi River essentially, so that's the area that I'm flying in, kind of low flatland, river delta, soggy, usually floods if anything happens. And here's a bit of a soggy day that we've got out today. So the wing I'm flying here is a Spyder 26 meter, and I've got an Air Conception 130. The new 200 Nitro replaced it, and I got a good deal on it with low hours from down in Florida, someone that I bought it from. I went ahead and stuck the anti-torque fins on here. There was a little bit of torque, not as much as some of the bigger motors. However, what I have noticed is I can turn left now while under power. I still have to pull down fairly firmly on the brake, but it doesn't refuse to turn left and skate sideways. It actually turns left, which is nice. And so I've got the 130 with the anti-torque fins. I've got some position strobes, or position lights, as you can see in some of this, the green and red on each side. It's not needed, but I thought why not? They were cheap on Amazon. I've also got two strobes on the back facing two different directions, so hopefully that covers me for the FAA. Although I haven't really needed to use them that much, I haven't flown right past the dark. So this is flying around my general area. We're near Memphis, like I said, and there's a few fields around here that I try to get people to let me take off and land from, but they did not want to do that, liability reasons, things like that, so I'm still looking for some good spots. So meanwhile, I'm using my local football field and soccer field, things like that, and I'll usually go to the untowered airports as well if I've got friends that want to fly along and we need some more space and some room. So anyway, here's the poop ponds nearby, some little water sanitation plants, or settling plant, or whatever you want to call it, water treatment. Not too pretty there. I decided to let my trims out. I was going pretty slow for a while there. I've noticed that this wing, with the trim at the neutral line, the white marks that you see, I only get about, say 19 miles an hour or so. I'm on the lighter end of the weight class for this wing. I should have probably went down to like a 22, but being new, I went with right kind of smack dab in the lower and middle end of the weight class for this wing. You see some power lines I've been passing over. I stay plenty ahead of those. Not very fond of getting anywhere near them. So here in the past few weeks, we've had 0 flying days. The weather has been 15-mile-an-hour winds. Not usually rainy. It's been pretty dry, but the winds alone here in the flatlands has pretty much precluded me from flying. And if you haven't been flying much inland compared to the beach, you can't really fly much in winds. If there's any wind at all, the rotor is so bad coming around the trees that it's usually almost impossible to get the wing off the ground in a safe manner. If you could get a nice straight line wind, you could take it off in theory and get out of the rotor and get up high, but the places that I've got to choose from, it's just too much, so I haven't been really doing any reverses or anything like that. And so today it was dead calm wind. We went to church this morning, noticed that no wind outside and it was overcast, and as a pilot, a regular pilot, that's troubling, the low overcast. So it's actually below VFR minimums today for flying airplanes. However, since we don't need to go very high on this guy, not below minimums for Class G Airspace, and I can kind of get around where I want. So some deciding factors. I could see some nearby airports. They're like 5-8 miles away. They both said overcast on their METARs. So I took my drone up. I've got a Phantom 3 and checked the heights of the clouds above my place, and I got about 600-700 feet. So I figured, why not? Let's go out and fly. It's the only day I'll probably have in the next 2 weeks, so I better use what I can. It's a tad muddy out. You can see all the muck and mud in these fields, so I wouldn't want to land here. And it was even a bit squishy over on the football fields, but we still made it out. So here we go. I felt like doing some maneuvering, so I did a few sharp turns here. I'm still getting used to things. I'm no Tucker Gat by any means, so not doing anything too crazy. But the Spyder is pretty responsive and will pretty much spin you around any way you want. I think Tucker reviewed one a while back, and you know, it's no aerobatic wing, but it's definitely no basic Class A beginner. So here you go. Here's a few little spins here, just kind of getting used to the way the wing's reacting, and swing back the other direction. See, I tried to stop it there and kind of still wanted the pendulum a little bit, but nothing scary. Got plenty of height for that. Just testing things out. I was going to hook up my speed bar, and I kind of forgot it. So you'll see it's not hooked up. But I haven't tested that out yet. I've got it all set up, just never have hooked it up to try it out. Definitely want to get some height if you are trying that out for the first time, as you will drop pretty quickly. So there's Mickey D's right there in the corner, right next to the edge of the field. There have been people kind of staring and watching a little bit. I sped this video up so you can't see that well, but there's been cars stopping in a few places and, you know, taking a gander. I'm trying not to distract people from driving, so I hope I don't cause any wrecks or anything like that. So I'm heading back. One thing you'll notice that I'm trying to do constantly here is I'm not flying over any houses or buildings or anything like that. I'm kind of cutting the corners through fields and things just to make sure that I'm not over any congested areas. I flew next to my subdivision where I'm from in the beginning of the video, but just flew over the ponds and the woods and tried to make sure that I've got a safe landing spot for whatever height that I'm sitting at, and that I'm not over anybody's actual homes or anything like that. This field here, I tried to get permission to use their field, and it's a van carrier company. They called their main headquarters. The guy who was here, the manager, was really receptive and was like, man, that's cool, I want to get into that too, let's discuss it some more. But then he sent me off to headquarters and they said, sorry, liability reasons, we can't let you set foot in the field. Doesn't stop me from flying around the field, but I can't actually stop in it or go from there. But it sure would be nice, as I don't have any actual obstacles like I've got here in this area. So I've never landed from this direction in this field before, so I wanted to make sure that I had the room to kind of get it. So I've set up this practice drop across the trees here, just to make sure that I'd have maneuvering space and that it was going to work out right for the glide ratio that I've got. And so that was my one test run. Now we'll slow it down and let you see the final pull in here. Put some paramotor noise back on. I also talked to these people right in front of me here to the left. They wouldn't let me use their field either. There's also a liability. It's a state run institute area. And everybody's been friendly, but I just haven't found the right place. I did hear tell that there's an experimental aircraft group that's not too far away, and they have their own kind of home field. So I might be able to get to them. They're about 10 miles, not 10 miles, maybe 5 miles straight ahead of where I'm looking now. So might try them on for size. Had a few onlookers sitting in the park here as I was coming back in, and kind of went a little fast when I came in here. I did have the trim set back to neutral. However, I kind of spurted the motor a little bit right before I killed it, so I was coming in pretty quick. Instead of kind of a straight drop down, it was kind of a horizontal bit. So here I almost fall on my butt, but I caught myself. And we made it alright. Haven't looked at the wing since it sat down on this mucky ground, so I hope it's not too dirty. But she might need a little bit of wiping clean after this go round. Anyway guys, thanks for joining me, and hope the video wasn't terribly long. And hopefully my narration wasn't terribly crappy this time as it was in the last one. And I will see you guys later, and hopefully get some more flying in.